morning, everybody. Hope all is well. And I'd like to thank CMG for giving us this opportunity to host a session here today. With me, I've got one of my colleagues, Roberto Checo, and myself, and we're going to talk about what happened to mainframe performance and tuning reporting. The reason for this was that I was thinking about, what do we do for reporting these days? And you can easily see, you can get lots of short-term reporting from various products, especially looking at your major subsystems. But medium to long-term, there aren't so many products around that do this, and what are the benefits in doing this? And that's the aim of doing this session today. Before we start, I'm going to bring some good news. ZETALY have been recognized by the Industry Era Review as one of the top 10 best IBM solution providers. And we are very much focused on mainframe. So that came out, that's fairly new, like 3 weeks old. All right. What are Roberto going to talk about? We're going to talk about who, what are, ZETALY, depending on how you pronounce your Zs or Zs. Some of the issues surrounding mainframe reporting, especially with your systems and your subsystems. Some of the performance and tuning reporting that we tend to use. At the heart of this is SMF log data. That's the heart. Anything that goes on just about in the mainframe, it's recorded in an SMF log. And of course, this is starting to touch on operational analytics, which is a big, big topic of discussion out there in the marketplace. Show you a little bit about the architecture, and then we're actually going to fire the product up live and demonstrate it. And that's where Roberto comes in, and obviously Q&A towards the end. All right, ZETALY. Used to be known as ZCost Management, and we went through a name change at the back end of last year, about October 2020. We are a French company based in Nantes with a head office in Paris. Good renewal rate of all of our products, lots of customers around, and we are predominantly mainframe orientated. We released a mainframe product in 2020 to do with chargeback, cost analysis, or on the mainframe, and managing your IBM licenses. And we've got a new solution coming out in this year, probably the second half of the year, which is going to be really focused on capacity planning. So keep an eye open for that, but we'll certainly remind you. Some of our clients globally, so I believe we are very well established. All right, let's move into some of the common reports that we've got. Lots of major subsystems: ZOS, CICS, DB2, storage, WLM, MQ, you name it, it keeps going. And what are the types of reports we need to start identifying, performance and tuning issues? System summaries, CPU by LPAR, etc., exception summaries, MSU by workload if you're using IBM's AWLC or CMP. CICS reports, or CICS reports, transaction summary, response times, exception reports. Typically, these are generated by systems programmers. Here's some more. DB2, obviously that's a big system in most environments, not in all, but thread, buffer pool, DB2 logs. Some of this the capacity planner's interested in, but tends to be more high level and trend analysis. And that's where we start to talk about longer term reports. But just about all these reports I've mentioned, and I know there's going to be a lot that I haven't, but hopefully you'll get the gist, the understanding. They've got one thing in common, especially when typically how you produce them. They are all short-term reports, 1 day old, maybe 2 day olds. Performance and monitors are great at resolving things that go and bump in the night. And typically when things do go bump in the night, Somebody usually gets up in the middle of the night, logs in, or used to be go into the office, but now it's logging in remotely, and tries to look at short-term reporting, making sure that all the SLAs are met. And that is the goal, make sure the SLAs are met, that system application gets back up and running. These are typically the types of issues that can't be solved by forecasting, by trending. I'm a great believer, and I think it's been proved over time, things don't just break overnight. They tend to go degrade gradually. For an example, most of us drive around in motor cars. After every 5,000 miles or 10,000 miles, we end up having to get a service on the car. Every 60,000 miles, there's a major service. And that's exactly the same with all our systems and our subsystems. We've got to continually monitor them and watch the trends. Not 1 day or 2 day, but multiple days, weeks, months. Most issues can be solved by analyzing workload trends, and it's important that we start doing that because we can start avoiding issues. And if they can't, what then happens? Next morning, everybody gets back into the office or remotely, and we all dial into the war room. You have systems people there, CICS, DB2, systems managers, executives, help desk, service delivery managers, application. The list goes on and on. And one of the biggest issues you have there is people are saying, well, whose fault was it? Especially in the complexity of today's environment. It's not just the mainframe, it's everything. So, there we all are in the war room trying to work out what's happening because we didn't do any trending analysis and something went bang in the middle of the night, and it ends up leading to finger pointing. I'm sure we've all been there at some stage. So why not use mainframe monitors for long time reporting? They're not designed for it, really. I'm sure some of the ISVs will say, yes, they are, we can do it. And I'm not having a go at whether it's an Omegamon or MainView or a Tmon or a SysView. I think that's most of the major ones. But they're really identified for short-term resolution of problems, what is going on. Some figures, there's lots of figures out there. I just picked out this one, the cost for annual time spent on unplanned application downtime. And even when you look at some of your reports on, and I'll just, the amount of CICS events that you've had, how much does it cost you to not only cost of the event, but to analyze it, to restart it, and to rerun it? And then hopefully you'll get it right first time. Maybe you won't. But the costs are huge. There are some performance and tuning reporting products around. Mix, which has been around for a long, long time. JARS, even longer. SAS MXG. MXG is, I guess, been around for a long, long time. I'm sure most of you know Barry Merrill. I do. But they've been around for a long time. Have they changed with what we need today? Because a lot of people do not understand, especially the SMF records. Quick bit of trivia. Does anybody know what this is? I'll give you 10 seconds to answer this question. When was the IBM 1403 printer or 1400 series developed? Anybody gets it right, put it in the chat. I'll send them a gift card, but put your email address in as well. The IBM 1400 printer started in 1959. So it's been around for a long time. We don't use this anymore, but it's how printers used to be. At the heart of mainframe reporting or SMF records, keep track of what's going on in your mainframe. Here's an example of a mainframe. Do you think a college student could understand this? If we're trying to track what's going on with ZOS or RMF or CICS, try to understand this? No. The point here is SMF records first came out in 1969. So that's, and they haven't changed that much. That is a long, long time. Of the SMF records, there are currently 255. And if there are more, I'll apologize, but that was what I last saw.
No.
But it's also, there's also SMF, there's new records coming out. IBM do bring new ones out. They also bring out sub-records. So I'd hate to think how many records and sub-records there are out there. It's line after line of uncontextualized data on billing, system performance, basically anything that's going on in the mainframe environment. And as I said there, it's enough to make anybody's head spin. SMF logs. Event logs represent huge amounts of data. They're expensive. How are you going to store them? Do you store them on the mainframe? Do you store them off the mainframe? And they, as you've seen, they're complex to understand. And to correlate data from disparate sources with them, mainframe SMF data with business data or application data can be a real challenge. So let's talk a little bit about the solution, ZETALY, the ZETALY architecture. We collect SMF data in near real time and can be as less as 1 minute. We transform it. We take it off the mainframe, put it onto a different platform, BI cubes, and into the ZETALY database. And then we visualize it, we transform it, as you can see there. And this is what we're going to demonstrate for you. Some of the SMF records we create, and some of our users have said to us, you don't collect blah, blah, blah SMF record or a subtype record. No, we don't. We don't collect everything, but tell us what we don't collect. And if you need it, we can turn it around really, really quick. So at this point in time, I'm going to pass over to Roberto, and he's actually going to now demonstrate how we can help produce these reports, stop the bumps in the night because we can forecast them through trending facilities, and hopefully reduce your outage costs. Roberto.
Thank you, Brian. So this is the ZETALY interface. Okay, each rectangle here represents a dashboard with information that's coming from the SMF records and other logs. Not only SMF records we collect also system syslog messages and decollect IMS logs. So there are many sources involved on this solution. And here is the visualization interface. It's a 100% web-based interface where we have here dashboards related to the information coming from ZOS, so particular from ZOS and its subsystems, because we have also information about DB2, storage, HIS. If I scroll down here, we can see, sorry. If I scroll down here, what's going on? Oh, okay. If I scroll down here, we can see many subsystems like DB2, CICS. We have CPC configuration, WLM activity, hardware performance, and also with this solution, you are able to customize your dashboards. That's the most important thing on that. The solution has some pre-made dashboards that goes when we deliver the solution, but also you have the possibility to customize your dashboards as you want. So this solution is very flexible. You don't need to learn any programming language to customize your dashboards. It's just drag and drop, selecting widgets, and we will see during this demo, okay? So as you can see here, this interface is split of three different parts. We have the overview, where we have the summary dashboards with the summary KPIs. We have the resource usage dashboards, with the particular information from each information from the ZOS and its subsystems. And on the third part, we have the custom dashboards that are the dashboards you customize. Okay. So if we take a look in the CICS activity dashboard, this is one dashboard related to the CICS activity. When I say CICS activity, it's the SAMAF 110. And here it's how ZETALY brings us the information. So we have everything starts from a high-level point of view, where we have the main KPIs on the top, and then you can play with the dashboard, applying drill down, selecting specific transactions or specific regions, and then you go and see the results, because this dashboard is dynamic. Everything you apply as a filter, so all the widgets change to reflect the filter you are applying. Okay, so here on the top, we have the number of transactions executed on the period. If you want to see the information from a specific day, you just click in the calendar for the specific day, and everything changes to show you the amount of transactions executed on that day. Here on the right-hand side, you have a filter bar where you can reset the filters, apply filters, whatever. Okay, if I click here, I can reset to the original view like I was in the beginning. And here we have the top KPIs, number of transactions, average response time, CPU time, sorry, average response time, number of events. Here we have the representation of a number of transactions versus response time by month. If you want to see by day, just drill down and see the information by day. If you want to see the information by hour, you just drill down and see the information by hour. Okay. Here on my demo, I have the information. The granularity is 1 hour. But if you want to see by minute, by 15 minutes, it's possible. It's just a customization that you do on the back end to have the aggregation options, doing the aggregation by 15 minutes or by 10 minutes or by minute, as you want. Okay. And also, if you want to keep the details, it's possible as well. Because of our database, you can customize everything. Okay, if on those KPIs we have details. So, for example, here we have 200,000, more than 200,000 bands. If you want to see more details about the bands, you just click there, and then you have a jump dashboard that will show you more details about the bands. So you have the bands day by day, the number of bands day by day. Okay, you hover the mouse here, you have a pop-up showing the number of bands, the CPU time consumed for all those bands. Here, I scroll down, I have the top 20 transactions that are abandoned. So here we have this particular transaction with 85,000 bands. Here, I have another example showing the CPU time per transaction and also the total of events. For example, if you want to include here the program name or any other information, so as I said, it's so flexible, it's just a matter to edit this widget and apply the column that you want to have. And here on the right-hand side, we have the abandoned reasons. So you can understand the type of events of your transactions and the number of events that each event has occurred. Okay. If we come back to the main screen, so I just click out of the jump dashboard. We have more widgets on this CICS activity dashboard. Here I have the breakdown by LPAR and CPC. If you have more than one CPC, of course, you can break down and see the different information here by each CPC. We have here the CICS regions. So if you want to see the information by particular CICS region, it's just a matter to select the CICS region you want. I select here CICS-F. Now, this dashboard is showing only information related to this CICS region. Okay. I will remove the filter again to have all the information. And if I scroll down, I have other widgets here showing the response time during the period. I have here the number of transactions during the period, and here I have a forecasting set on this widget. So you can understand how you have the prediction here. It's a linear prediction, but you can change the forecasting method to linear, logarithmic, whatever. Okay. And also here we have two buttons, deep analysis and analyze it. So here you can apply trend analysis on this widget. So if I select here, analyze IT, trend, and show trend, okay, the solution will read the information on the widget and draw the trend line on this widget, okay, showing us how what's the trend of this response time. So we can see that's decreasing. If you hover the mouse, you can see more details about the trend analysis made by the solution. Okay. Also, we have more engines here. So let me turn off the trends. Okay. And you configure that to every time you load the dashboard, you have with those analysis already done. So you have the trend line available. So you don't need to set this manually like I'm doing here. The proposal, the purpose of this is to show you that we have different engines that you can apply on the widgets to see some statistics, analytics, and so forth. We have other engines, not only the trend, we have the local estimate, anomaly detection, percentile curves, growth rates, summary statistics, so that you can apply. Also, we have what if analysis that you can apply, this kind of thing. So if I will just select one here, local estimate. So again, the solution will see, we will analyze the widget and see, you see that there is a local estimate line here in black, and you can see here more details that solution analyzed the widget and gave us some details about the local estimate engine with summary statistics, minimum, maximum, median, average, and the explanation about the analysis. Also, we have here the possibility to use what if you want. Okay, it's another possibility, another engine that we have. In this example here, we have a widget with response time and total transactions. And if you want to apply a what if, it's possible as well. So a line will be drawn here with the forecasting for both KPIs, and with the what if, you have the possibility to customize the what if analysis. So if I click here, you have the forecasting points, and you can change for a specific average response time. You can change the numbers here to do a what if with the customized points. Okay. So that's the possibility now you have with this solution. This is the modern mainframe reports that you can have with this solution, and it's not only related to the day or the day before, but you can have an history and analyze all history in the same dashboard. This solution also, you can do other things, not only see the reports and apply analytics, but also you have some capabilities here to do problem determination. So if we take another example here in the service delivery, that's another dashboard. Okay, this dashboard brings us information for a service manager because it shows us information related to workloads, to different workloads. Here we have the batch and online workloads split in during the day and during the night. So from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And on the top, we have the transactions executed in those different periods, the batch executed during the different periods, and the abends, the batch abends that we had on this period. And again, it's for the entire period. If you want to select a particular day, you just click in the calendar, and then you have the numbers for that day. Here we have the CPU time consumed for the different workloads during the day, and here on the bottom, okay, I scroll down during the night on the same way. Here we have the breakdown by CPC and LPAR. I have just one CPC in my example here. I want to see the LPARs. I just right click, and then you can see the LPARs are available on the CPC. You can select one LPAR, and then you see all the widgets change to reflect the information for only PRD1, that's the LPAR I select. And also here you can do some problem determination, like I said. So we have here, I will scroll down a little bit. We have here the number of transactions executed, CPU time, response time in the same widget. We have here the MSU consumption on the right, and we have here top 20 batch jobs consumption, top 20 CICS transaction consumption, and top 20 CICS transaction response time. You see here that we have the response time is this purple line here, and we have a spike on January 2019. If I drill down on January 2019, we can see more details. We can see all the days, and we see that on January 8th, we have a spike here. If I select this day, what happens? All the widgets change to reflect that day. And here we have the top 20 guys, batch, CICS, and response time. As we are looking at a widget with the online transactions, let's take a look at the transaction response time. And then we have a guy here with the highest response time in my data that we have here. So if you want to investigate why this transaction is having a high response time, you can right click on this transaction, select, and then you go to the CICS dashboard to see more details about this transaction. Okay, we see that this transaction is executing one CICS region, executed 400,000 times, and the average response time is 151 seconds. And then on the right side here, we have the waiting time. So we have a terminal time as a waiting time. We have some time spent on TB2, but it's 3 milliseconds, so nothing, almost nothing. CH mode, so probably this response time is related to the terminal interaction we have here. We have here showing by this KPI, that's the terminal time. If we scroll down here, we can see more details about this transaction. We have here hour by hour, this transaction, the number of executions, transactions per second, CPU time, total CPU time, average CPU time, response time, dispatch time, suspended time, and any field that you want to have on this table. I put here the fields, the most important fields here when you want to work with accounting and performance. And on the bottom here, we have another table, hour by hour again, but now with the waiting times from the different KPIs we have here. We have the waiting times, DB2, first dispatch, locks, etc., etc. Okay. Imagine if it was, so let me scroll down. Imagine if it was a DB2 issue where we have the waiting time high here. So if it was a DB2 issue, you could just right click on the DB2 and jump to the DB2 dashboard where you see the DB2 data, related data to this transaction, VLNC. So here we have some DB2 times for this particular transaction. So here, hour by hour, we have this transaction inside DB2 and the consumption KPIs available here. And on the bottom, if we scroll down a little bit, okay, we have the waiting times on the same way, the waiting times inside DB2, so you can understand where this transaction is waiting to execute, what is, that's probably the reason why you have a high DB2 waiting time inside CICS. Okay, so using this solution, you have modern mainframe reports because, as you see, it's 100% web-based with dynamic widgets, dynamic charts, and you can apply filters. You can even also apply business filters, so you can group the different transactions and batch jobs and create business units or applications, as you would like to call it that, and do the filtering based on those groups. Okay. If we go back to the main screen again, I would like now to show how we customize a dashboard. Okay, so I will, oops, sorry. I will select here this option, that's how to customize dashboards. Now I enter here in the custom dashboard screen. I'll select one dashboard that I would like to customize. I'll pick up an example like the CICS activity dashboard we saw in the beginning of the demo. Okay, so it's here. And how do you create a new widget here? So you have this button, add widget. So you select the data you want to have in the widget. So transaction and as account. You see, so we have a table here. So, but I don't want to have a table. I want to have a pie chart. So the solution already create the pie chart. I select here, create. It goes to the bottom of my widget. Okay, but I didn't like this. So I will open the development interface here. I'll select the same widget, the same dashboard, because here in the development interface we have more options. Let me see here on the bottom, we have it here. So I will edit this widget. Let me see here. So let's customize more. Let's set up a title. Let's set up a legend. Let's put on the right. Let's change the format. Let's put a ring. Okay, that's fine. Apply. Okay, it's done. It's ready. But I didn't like the position of these widgets, so you can just pick up, drag it, and push in the position that you would like to have it. And so the dashboard adjusts automatically, and that's it. You don't need to do anything else for simple widgets, of course. If you want to have a complex formula that you want to apply in the widget, it's possible as well. Okay, but the idea here is to make it simple and have the dashboards customized as fast as possible. Okay, so after that, as the last thing that I would like to show you during this demo is the possibility to bring in business data to the solution. So as Brian explained, the solution automatically collects logs from the ZOS. But imagine if you want to use your business data correlating with the ZOS information. So with this solution, it's possible to do that because this solution has many collectors, over 100 connectors that you can use to bring in the information to the cube. So I will open here an example of a cube. Let me find one cube here. This is an example of a data cube where we correlate the different tables, and it seems to be complex, but it's not. Okay, just to show that here we have the different tables from different information, different source from CPC, from DB2, CICS, batch, filtering, etc. And here you can see that we have a different table with a different color here. If I hover the mouse here, I have the information that the provider is a MS Excel. That means that, what does it mean? It means that I can use a connector, so add data. Let me do it again. Add data, so you have over 100 connectors that you can bring in information to the cube and correlate with the ZOS information that's coming from ZETALY. Okay, so we have Oracle, Postgre, Salesforce, SQL Server, Google Analytics, CSV, generic JDBC, and so forth. Okay, so I took an example of an Excel. And what we have inside this Excel spreadsheet, I will do a preview here, and I will show you that we have a sales order, okay? Nothing related to ZOS data. So I have the order ID here, order date, ship mode, customer ID, and if I scroll right, customer name, country, city, state, postal code, region, product, subcategory, product name, and sales. So the amount of sales. Okay, knowing we have this spreadsheet, we correlate this spreadsheet based on the date with the information from CICS. And then what we have on this, what we can produce correlating this information. So this is just an example. It's not a real situation. It's just to show the potential of these those connectors and the idea to bring business information to the solution. Okay, and then let me remove the filters I was using here. Okay, filters, reset, and then we can create things like this. So correlating the CICS transactions executions by state, by date. Okay, and then you can create a heat map like this, country map, showing the number of transactions executed by state. You see, where you hover the mouse and you see the results. And if you want to apply dollars to the transactions, you have here another example where taking this amount of sales and total transactions executed by state, by date. So you have you can have this kind of table showing the dollars spent by transaction by state, and have a widget like this showing the amount of sales and amount of transactions executed for that state. Okay, so I think that's what I would like to present to you for now. If we stay here, we can show many dashboards with the different information from ZOS, but we have a time limited here, and so I return back to Brian to do the wrap up.
Roberto, excellent demonstration And as you mentioned, we could spend hours and hours going through this with the audience. But we do have a time limit. All right. Hopefully, everybody, you have now seen how we can enhance your mainframe reporting. Not only identify issues short-term, but medium to long-term, especially with things like trending. And it's really we're getting into the world of analytics, operational analytics. So trending is really important, especially to stop those things that go bump in the night. And I did notice with Roberto, one of the screens he showed on the CICS events, it then showed the CPU time. And you can actually, there's a real correlation to cost. So you can actually work out very simply what the cost of that is. And it would be probably a real eye-opener to find that out, especially with some of the events that we have. So from reporting to analysis of the workload, how it's processing its subsystems, there is a lot here. On behalf of ZETALY, I would like to thank you very, very much for your time.